All right, it's Bill here, and here's my thoughts on a 4-0 win over the Boston Bruins. Happened to be at the game, which was awesome. Was with a Boston Bruins fan, which was still awesome. Great guy. Probably the first time I've been to a game with him when the result went the Leafs' way. But let me just get into a couple things. I was funny. I got a whole bunch of texts. Are you going to do a positive YouTube video? Okay. I don't know if I'd say I'm overly a positive guy, as you can probably tell. But there were some awesome things that happened in the game. And then, of course, when you're at the game, it's just a way better way of watching the game. You know, we were up high. You could see the players, see the positioning, could really appreciate some of the systems and all that kind of stuff, and see if people actually played them. But let me get into, first of all, maybe I'll start off with the negative. I will give you the Ryan Reaves report. Ryan Reaves, 0, 0, 0. Oh, 1 for +1 because Steve Lorentz scored an empty netter. 0 in 8 minutes and 31 seconds of play. He did not get a shot on net. He did nothing, and watching him at the game, it's an absolute embarrassment. I get it. He's in the lineup because Austin Matthews is out. Here's the thing I don't understand about Austin Matthews. I'll just put it out there. He plays back-to-back games. So he plays St. Louis, Minnesota, and then can't play Boston. If he's got a nagging, lingering injury, which they're leading me to believe, and if you actually take a look at the St. Louis game, he did not shoot the puck. Like, he was looking for a pass every single time. So I'm going to guess it's the same nonsense he had when he scored 40 instead of 69. But why would you put him in back-to-back games if it was a nagging injury? If you're going to sit him against Minnesota and then let him play against Boston. If you're going to, unless this is something way more serious, which could be, right? No one's going to give you the injury report, but, you know, not seeing Austin Matthews at the game was you know, disappointing. But again, your Ryan Reaves report, 0, 0, 0, 1. Well, we changed it up there with the +1. 0, no shots on net in 8 minutes and 31 seconds of ice time. All right, first period was absolutely awful to watch. We paid money to go see this game, and it looked like they were playing in a bouncy castle. Not one of the teams could complete a pass. The power plays at that time, I think there were how many penalties for each team? I want to say it was maybe 2 for the Leafs and 1 for Boston, but let me just make sure that I get that stat right. Sorry, it was, well, there was a couple that were overlapping penalties, but the refs were definitely on their, they loved the one-handed hooks tonight. The one-handed hook penalties were awesome for both teams. And you had the Charlie McAvoy dive. You had some guy sitting in a corner. It was a 5-minute penalty. And then they showed the replay on the screen. I'm like, what are you talking about? It was a clean hit. So that was interesting, being at, 5-minute penalty. What? Like, we didn't even know the guy got, didn't even know he was down, because, well, all we could see was his feet because he was on the boards where we were. But yeah, that got a spice up out of the crowd, but then realizing they called 5 minutes so they could review it. And once you saw the review, again, Boston Bruins, I'm sorry to hate you're the Montreal Canadiens. I reminded the 1980 Montreal Canadiens. We're going to call Charlie McAvoy Charlie Naslund. Mats Naslund. Diving all over the place. Oh, my stick, with a one hand on the stick, gets it knocked out. Now, granted, the Leafs had a couple penalties go their way, which, again, you would say weren't penalties. But at the end of the day, that first period was awful. It was, we were just sitting there going, why did I come to this game? There was no energy in the building. I was at the Armstrong Funeral Home. There was no passing ability. No one could actually complete a pass. A lot of garbage plays. No one looked like they were working. We're like, this is going to be a tough game to watch. And then the second period started, and Boston came out pretty hot. Anthony Stolarz, your first, second, and third star, and he was the first star of the game. He played amazing. He made a really big save in the first period. Then he made a couple buttes at the beginning of the second period. And then the Leafs got a penalty or a power play, and they actually did something on the power play in the second period. They shot the puck and went to the net. It's amazing how this works. If you take the puck, the black disc, and you throw it at the net, and then you put some people in front of that net, there's a chance it might go in. Instead of playing on the outside, there's a chance it might go in. Well, Matthew Knies, what a game. What a game. Matthew Knies was a star. You could see it banging, crashing. We were counting. I was counting how many times he went into the corner to get the puck, and he came out with the puck, or the Leafs came out with the puck. Let me give you an example. He was very good at it. Let's say it was like 15-1. The exact opposite of that was Johnny T. It was 1-15. Of course, it took him a while to get there. But if he ever got to the puck with the Bruins, for someone who's so talented, couldn't accept a pass, can't do nothing, watching him at a game, it really is embarrassing how bad this player is. You know what? I watched him when he played in Oshawa. I didn't think he was great then. So, I see some people jumping on the Johnny Tay stinks bandwagon. I think you're about 15 years too late. Now, for me as a Leaf fan, you're at least 6 years too late. Day one, I hated that contract. Day one, we needed a defenseman, not a forward. The year before, they went at Stamkos. Wrong call. Anyways, Matthew Knies, what a game. So when Matthews comes back, what needs to happen on the power play is you leave Matthew Knies on there because he stands in front of the net and does some good stuff. And you take Johnny Tay and you put him on the second unit. That's how it works. You're not going to take Nylander off. You're not going to take Riley off, especially when he gets 3 points. Unfortunately, he's on my buddy's fantasy team I'm playing against this week. You leave everybody as is. Johnny T is replaced by Matthews, and you call it a day. That's your power play unit. Because Matthew Knies basically was a catalyst for all three of the power play goals, even though he might not have got assists. And this one, he did a great screen. Morgan Riley, great shot. 1-0. And then another penalty. And the next penalty was to Pastrnak for the high stick. He had Zadorov too. What an idiot. Punching a guy on the ice afterwards, but whatever. And then you get another penalty with Pastrnak, and then William Nylander, bank shot. Again, Willie on the outside all night. I didn't like his game. I know he scored. I know he got some assists. Didn't like his game overall, but that's a great play. He shot it off the guy in the net. And it's 2-0. Okay, we've got 2 power play goals. This is crazy. And we weren't done yet. So 2-0 going into the second period again. I would say probably the last 5 minutes again, the Leafs fell asleep. And they started taking some penalties. You had Holmberg for the slash, and then you had Max Domi for slash as well. Going into the third period, you're killing a penalty. The Bruins penalty or power play was actually moving the puck really well, but every time they had a chance, Stolarz stopped. Stolarz, just, I don't know what to say. He's a great goalie. I'm trying to go back to the last time the Leafs had a combination that was awesome like this. They had a little bit of the Curtis Joseph, Felix Potvin. And when they first signed Joseph, they had both those goalies until they traded Potvin, and Potvin wanted to trade out. Maybe Potvin and Rhodes? I'm trying to think of like a good combination. There was the Pupa Potvin era that wasn't too bad. I'm trying to think when the Leafs have 2 good goalies. Like really good goalies. Usually they had 0. If I go to Toskala and Trevor Kidd and geez, I can go through some bad names of goaltenders. But this is amazing. Stolarz played again out of his head. We were able to get that penalty killed, and then the Bruins. I don't know what Pontius Holmberg did to anybody. I don't know what he said to the Boston Bruins, but every time he went to the bench for a change, someone clipped him. There was 2 that should have been called. He's going to the box, and I think Marchand stuck out his leg one time, and I think it was Pastrnak gave him a shot. And this time, it finally got caught, which was Mark Kastelik. And who's sitting in front of the net? Matthew Knies. Tippy. Matthew Knies. Power play. Unit number 1. Please, thank you. Let's not stop this nonsense. The guy sits in front of the net. He ain't Tavares in front of the net, because Tavares gets moved when he's in front of the net. Knies, there was a couple times he should have scored more goals. He was tipping him. No one around him. And he's a big boy. He can move people around. He ain't moving out in front of the net. In this case, it was Nylander took the shot. Beautiful tip by Knies. And then you got now here's another thing. On the empty net goal, what did Steven Lorentz do? Did he get over the red line before he shot it? Yes! This is a 3-0 game. You still get over the red line, shoot it in the net. And then you got a big Swayman chant. Swayman was terrible. Swayman was outplayed by Stolarz. That was the difference in the game. 4-0. There was a little bit of fun at the end of the game. There was a couple Bruins fans that probably had too many pops, and they were getting chirped pretty good, which was awesome to see. Usually it's very quiet. We happen to be in a little bit more of a loud section of the crowd, which was great. But overall, is it a positive video? I'm certainly positive about Stolarz. I'm certainly positive about Nyes, so I'm hoping that shines through because I think those players are great. I thought the second line, Nylander, Pacioretty, and Tavares were awful. I thought Domi, there was one shift where Domi, I don't know how many moves he put on the person. Couldn't score, but it was great moves. I thought Domi on the line was pretty decent with Nyes and Marner. I thought Marner, there was one play where Marner made a beautiful play at the blue line, and then he handed it to Johnny Tay, where it died. And you're like, how do you make a great play like that, keep it in the blue line, and then just hand it over to a bum? I know he was wide open, but maybe there's another play on that play. Don't give it to that guy. The third line, in and out. Robertson looked great at the beginning of the game. He had a couple really great shifts, and then that third line didn't look very good at that point. Fourth line did what fourth lines do. They weren't horrible. And I thought the Bruins there was no life. Like the Bruins, this ain't the Bruins team. Well, the Bruins are now the Montreal Canadiens of the 80s with how many diving that they did. But again, penalties-wise, I think it evened out. There's a lot of bad calls in this game. A ton of bad calls. A lot of one-handed hook. One hand on the stick. How do you hook a guy? But yeah. So at the end of the day, but the Bruins look disorganized 5-on-5. I don't know. Could this be the downfall of the Boston Bruins? Are they going the wrong way now? We'll see in a couple more weeks, but they certainly didn't look like a team that's going to be driving for a playoff run, that's for sure. Anyways, we'll take what we can get, a 4-0 win while I'm at the game. Awesome. They play on Friday and Saturday, Detroit and Montreal. There's an opportunity here to get a winning streak. Let's see what they do. Cheers.